You are in the second half of a team meeting. Someone across the table starts describing a problem you already solved in your head 30 seconds ago. Before they finish the sentence, you cut in. Actually, that is not it. The room goes quiet for half a beat. You lay out the fix, clean, confident, and you watch a couple of people nod like you just turned the lights on. For the rest of the day, you replay it, not out of vanity, just satisfaction. You were right. You are usually right. It is just how your brain works, a little faster than everyone else's. Then, on the drive home, a text from a colleague mentions one detail you hadn't considered. A detail that quietly changes everything you said in that meeting. And for one uncomfortable second, before you find a reason, it doesn't really matter. Something in you goes very quiet. Most people would call that moment humbling, a one-off, a blind spot anyone could have. But if it keeps happening, if you are consistently the smartest person in the room, in the group chat, in the argument, that is not a coincidence, that is a pattern with a name. I am Joe, and today we're decoding the psychology of people who think they're smarter than everyone else. So what is actually happening in your head in that moment of total certainty? And why does it fail you exactly when the stakes are highest? So why does this happen even to genuinely smart people? Because the skill you need to solve a problem and the skill you need to judge how well you solved it turn out to be the exact same skill. Psychologists Dunning-Kruger and David Dunning, both at Cornell University, ran a set of studies in the late 1990s. They tested people on logic, grammar, and humor. Published in 1999, their findings became what is now known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. People who scored in roughly the bottom fifth on these tests rated their own performance as well above average, off by close to 50 percentile points from where they actually landed. Not because they were lying to themselves on purpose, because the exact expertise required to spot an error is the expertise they didn't have yet. In psychology, this gap between what people actually know and what they believe they know is a core piece of overconfidence research, and it all traces back to a limit in what is called metacognition, your brain's ability to accurately judge its own thinking. Think of your judgment like a flashlight in a dark room. If you only know a little about a subject, your flashlight has a small dim beam. You can see the patch of floor right in front of you clearly enough to feel certain about it. What you can't see is how much room there is past the edge of that light. People who've actually mastered a subject carry a wider beam. They can see how much they still don't know. Which is exactly why experts tend to hedge and beginners don't. Confidence, in other words, isn't always evidence of how much you know. Sometimes it is evidence of how little of the room your flashlight is showing you. So what does this actually look like day to day? Here are 3 signs it is running the show. Sign 1. You mistake. The feeling of certainty for proof. Certainty is a feeling, not a fact. It is your brain telling you, this matches something I recognize, not this is correct. Say you are debating a friend about a claim you read once years ago. You can't cite where. You just feel right, and that feeling arrives instantly fully formed, no effort required. That is metacognition running on the same limited information that produced the wrong answer in the first place. It can't grade a test, it wrote itself. The feeling of I just know is often the least reliable evidence you own, and the one you trust the most. Sign 2 being corrected feels like an attack, not information. Watch what happens in your body the next time someone points out, you were wrong about something you said with confidence. For a lot of people, it isn't curiosity, it is heat. A tightening in the chest, a rush to explain, defend, reframe. This is what psychologists call ego threat. When new information collides with how you see yourself, your nervous system reacts as if the information itself is the danger. So instead of updating what you believe, you spend your energy protecting what you already said out loud. The correction gets treated like a wound instead of a gift. Sign 3, your circle mostly agrees with you. Look at who you actually run your ideas past. If it is the same handful of people who already think like you, who laugh at the same jokes and nod at the same opinions, you've built something comfortable and something quietly dangerous. It is called confirmation bias, your brain's habit of noticing evidence that supports what you already believe and filtering out what doesn't fit. A circle like that doesn't make you smarter. It just makes you louder in a room that was never going to disagree with you anyway. Quick gut check, which of those three just made you wince a little? Drop the number in the comments, 1, 2, or 3, because what comes next is exactly what that pattern quietly costs you. So what does this actually cost you? Every uncorrected certainty is a door that quietly closes, a skill you stop improving because you already assumed you were good at it, a relationship that gets a little thinner every time someone stops bothering to disagree with you, because it isn't worth the fight. Eventually, the people around you learn the fastest way through a conversation with you is to just let you be right. That is not respect. That is people managing you. And underneath all of it is something almost nobody says out loud, needing to be the smartest person in the room, usually isn't arrogance. It is often a much older fear that if you are not the smart one, you are not anything at all. That doesn't make you broken. It makes you human, running the same kind of flashlight everyone else is running, just convinced. Yours reaches further than it does. So how do you actually build real self-awareness instead of just quieter confidence? 3 steps. Step 1. Ask yourself what would change your mind before you defend anything. Before your next confident opinion leaves your mouth. Finish this sentence privately. I'd change my mind if you can't fill in the blank. That is not conviction. That is a closed door pretending to be a position. Step 2. Go find the one person who disagrees with you on purpose. Not to argue with them, to actually listen until you could explain their position back to them in a way they'd agree with. If you can't do that yet, you don't understand their side well enough to have beaten it. Step 3. Practice saying, I don't know out loud, in public, on purpose. Not as a performance of humility, but as a representation. Every time you say it, and the room doesn't fall apart, your nervous system learns that not knowing is survivable. That is the actual skill here, not becoming less confident, but becoming confident about the right things. Your flashlight isn't broken, and it is not your fault. It only shows you what it shows you. That is just how a mind works before it has been tested. But you get to decide whether to walk toward the edge of the light or set up camp right where you are standing and call it the whole room. So tell me, honestly, in the comments, when's the last time someone corrected you, and what did you actually feel in that moment? Curiosity or heat? Naming it is the first step out of the loop. If this gave you a clearer, less defensive way to look at your own certainty, hit like, subscribe for more of these breakdowns, and send it to someone who needs to hear it more than they'd admit. I am Joe. See you in the next one.